We're very emotionally attached to money, but if you can get to the point where you can detach yourself from the money or from the trades emotionally and not care whether it hits your stop loss or not care if you lose a little bit on a trade or not, you will become much more successful. I'm famous in my group for saying the second time or third time's a charm. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes I'll give a signal and it'll hit the stop loss. But we had a very tight stop loss, so you lost very little. I'll tell everybody in the group, re-enter. And they're like, are you sure re-enter? I'm like, re-enter right now. Re-enter the exact same everything. They re-enter it, hit the stop loss again. And then I'm like, re-enter, because I know this thing is going to do what I think it's going to do. It just, my timing was not all right, maybe on that first signal. And then the third time, boom, it does exactly what we want. Skyrockets, hits the TP. And then half the people in my group are like, damn, I didn't get in on that third re-enter because I just felt nervous at this point. I didn't trust. They didn't trust themselves. They didn't trust me at the moment. But if I'm telling you to re-enter, what I'm basically telling you is I'm re-entering. You can do whatever you want.
All right, folks, here we are on Trading Up. We've got Niko Mercurius in the house. He's a crypto trader. He's been doing it since 2015 when, Bitcoin was, I think, at $170. Welcome to the show, Niko.
Thank you. Thank you, Cam. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Well, look, I'm glad to have you on because, folks, if you stick around to the end, he's got a wee gift for you. So please, this is going to be epic. We're about to dive in, and we're going to start off with not the regular stuff, which is like how did you get into it and stuff. We'll find that out in a second. But to start off with, I want to find out, like, if you had to give somebody like with not much capital an hour a day, they're wanting to get into trading as a whole or even crypto, what would be your 90-day roadmap for them?
Well, great question. And we do have a 90-day roadmap. But first, while it's still fresh on my mind, I did want to say, I did want to thank you, Cam, for having me on. And I was listening to your podcast. I even went and put a review up there for you. Awesome podcast. Nice. So I just want to invite your listeners here to go do the same, give you a good review because, you're doing a lot for the community by bringing people on that can also share new information and new ways to make money in the trading space. So I just want to thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
And so the 90-day challenge, well, it's not even a challenge. It's just the way we normally train people is we want to get them to consistent profitability within their first 30 days, but at least $100 a day. So now we have some members that make 20 grand in their first month, but $100 a day is the very minimum we want to get you to within your first 30 days. And then up to $200 a day by the end of your 60 days and a minimum of $300 a day by the end of your 30 days. So the way we do that is we do it with basically a systematic approach. A lot of people, unfortunately, they come in with that home run mentality. They want to hit a home run. They want to get rich quick. They see the big gains and they want that right away. And we try to discourage that and say, listen, all we really want you to do is become consistently profitable. I don't care if you got 100 grand to put in your account or 10 grand or 5 grand or 500. It doesn't matter. If we can get you to where you are just making consistently profitable trades for every 10 trade setups we give you, or for every 10 trades you take with us, I don't care if you are only 5 of them win. I don't care if you have a 40-50% win ratio, as long as your winners exceed your losses. And if you use the proper risk management that we show, we pretty much guarantee our members are going to be winning successful, profitable trades within their first 30 days. But it's really about risk management. And as your account slowly grows, even if you're taking small trades and small wins, don't do it to make the big money, but do it to just become consistently profitable. And this is a tricky mindset for people because when they get a win or 2 or 5 in a row, their confidence level changes. They're like, oh, well, I'm not going to just stick to this small little amount. I'm going to throw more in here and I'm going to try to double and triple my account real quick. I know Niko told me not to do that, and then sometimes they end up having that will be their losing trade and they end up giving some money back, right? So, we try to just keep people on the consistent path. And it's funny because it seems like women in our group are more successful at doing that. They're more successful.
I was going to ask who the people are that are more successful. And have you worked out why that is?
Yeah, the men are more risk takers and the women are just more following by the book and they're doing what we're showing them and they're not trying to get rich quick and they end up getting rich quicker. Sometimes because they're not trying, they're just following the rules. And don't get me wrong, we've had guys that did multiple 7 figures in their first year in our group, just anomalies, like just crazy success. But we don't try to make anybody think that that's going to happen for them. But at the same time, we see it happen all the time. But the women, for some reason, they're more cautious. They're more risk averse. They're not really trying to double or triple or make, turn 10 grand into 100 grand overnight. They're willing to follow that system that we have. Just put a 10% 10% of your balance we're going to risk on this trade. We're going to put a 10% stop loss on that. If you got $1,000 in your or $10,000 in your account, you're going to risk 1,000 on the trade, but we're going to have a 10% stop loss. So you're really only risking $100. So if we go up with 50x or 80x leverage, people get scared because they're like, well, can that hurt you? And it really doesn't if you have the proper risk management and you're using stop losses in the right way. Obviously, you give yourself more room with less leverage. And I know leverage might be something that the stock traders and the Forex traders, Forex traders definitely use leverage, but I'm not sure that many people are using the kind of leverage that we're using in the stock, in their stock account, unless they're trading options. But we can certainly go into that and talk about it.
Hey, if you like futures because of the tight spreads and clear setups, go check out Blue Guardian Futures. They let you start trading futures with up to $450K in funding. The best part, you keep 100% of your first $15K in profits, then 90% after that. No activation fees, weekly payouts, and they're sponsoring Chris Eubank Jr. and Birmingham City FC. Go take a look at blueguardianfutures.com or click the link in the description.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like I'd say with the Dynamic Traders Club, which is my trading group, we found that like the women tend to be the ones that will follow the rules, and the men seem to go off and do whatever they want to do, which is really weird, but interesting nevertheless. Now, let's start off with, so you started into crypto 2015. How did you get into, or how did you sort of transition into becoming a crypto trader that was wanting to train other people on how to trade crypto?
Yeah, so I mean, at the time, I had a call center in Florida here. I had 150 employees. I was doing really well. I was doing about $12 million a year in gross revenue, had a big business for a decade. Going to the office every day, driving community and traffic, fighting people for my parking spot, even though it was reserved, arguing and firing and hiring people all day, every day, dealing with that kind of nonsense. But I had managers and assistant managers and directors of operations kind of running everything for me. So I was kind of bored in my office, twiddling my thumbs sometimes. But I knew I liked the financial markets. I wanted to learn how to day trade. I watched the movie Wall Street, not Wolf of Wall Street, the original one back in the day with Michael Douglas, right? And I just wanted to. I always liked everything to do with money and making more money, and I was making money, but I wasn't doing the right thing with it. So I was like, let me see if I can learn. So I went to something called OTA. I don't know if you have that over there, but over here in the States, OTA is Online Trading Academy. Yeah, online trade. It's a big school where they teach people. It's not that they just teach people how to trade. It's where the hedge funds pull their traders from. So it was about a $30,000 education, and you go in person in class. And I wanted to learn how to trade the stock market, got good at it, but I didn't want to go work for a hedge fund because I had my own money. I just wanted to make money on the side and try to figure this thing out. And I did that, and I did quite well. And people were asking me, friends, family, they were trying to, come to me for advice. So I was teaching, but not professionally teaching, just kind of helping friends and family. And then this crypto, I had some Bitcoin early on. I think I had 50 Bitcoin at $300 at one point. And then all of a sudden, futures contract trading became a thing. It was in the late 2010s, close to 2018, 19. And you were literally able to trade crypto on a decentralized platform. Now, some of these platforms were sketchy back then. You didn't really know if they were legit or not, but a lot has changed since then. But so I started experimenting with Bitcoin futures contracts. And you can trade hundreds of cryptos now against USDT or on a coin margin. But I was trading Bitcoin futures contracts, and I could trade up to 100x leverage on these platforms. And I was making more in a day doing that with just one indice, just Bitcoin. I didn't have to follow the stock. Now, no offense, stock. I love stock market. I trade it still. But just as an example or as a comparison, Bitcoin moves 1% to 5% per day, up and down. So the volatility is there. And when you just apply the same strategies from the stock market, the same technical analysis to the charts, is no different really. We're finding support and resistance. We understand where the trends are, and I'm trading what I call apex breakouts, just basically trend line breakouts, and it's just like taking candy from a baby sometimes. But the big difference is the leverage, because if we have a 1% move or a 2% move in the market at 50x leverage, I'm making 100% on that. So it's like, you're not going to be able to do it without the leverage, what we do. I mean, you could do it, but you really would have to have a lot of money in your account, to make a 2% move, and to make that worthwhile, you'd have to have maybe 6 figures in your account. But you could do that with $1,000 at 100x leverage. It's like trading with 100 grand. It's like making 2% on 100 grand when you're making, 100% on $2,000.
Yeah.
So, for example,
So do you find that, like, I mean, have you actually had a look at other markets and then look back at crypto and gone, well, crypto's actually easier, and is this the sort of thing you're going to short as well, given the fact it's like, massively bullish, and your predictions are that it's going to get even more bullish?
Just like the stock market, crypto has pretty predictable bull and bear market cycles, and we're in the fourth one right now since its inception, and it's very clear to see on the chart. Usually 2.5 to 3 years up, 1 year down. So from 2021 to the bear market, to the top of 2021, we were hitting 68K on Bitcoin. And then in the bear market bottom, we got down to 15.5. We were calling the bottom in our group at 17. We had one more little dip before it started to turn up. But then we went long, at probably around 16, 17,000 and rode that up. I mean, it's 7x since then. But the first bull market in Bitcoin was 1,000x. I mean, from 2008 and a half, 2009 to now, Bitcoin is up 10 million %. There's really no other thing out there that even comes close as far as the return or the ROI from its inception. But I would say that over the last decade, Bitcoin has averaged almost 100% per year, year over year. Compare that to the US dollar purchasing power going down at 8 to 10% per year. Some of our traders are like, well, I want to trade for profit. I want to trade for income so that I can pay my bills. I'm like, you can do that. But I personally trade on a Bitcoin margin because I'm trying to grow the Bitcoin amount that I have. So it just depends on your personal situation. If you have income from some other source, a business or a job or other trading, and you can pay your bills, that's great. But if you need income from trading crypto, you can certainly trade on a USDT margin or a USD margin or even a crypto margin and just close out that trade and convert it back to US dollar if you need the money. But the reason why I don't do that is because, and to answer your other question, yes, we go long and we go short every day. We're trading up and down. We don't care which way the market is going. And my goal is to accumulate more Bitcoin so that by the time Bitcoin does get to 500,000 or a million or even 10 million for which it could do, obviously at the current rate. I just want to have a lot more of it by that time. And so I'm accumulating Bitcoin on each trade. And it's a little confusing when you're shorting because the value is going down, but you're accumulating more on the way down. So when it gets to a lower value, you have more, you have the value of what you have is going down per Bitcoin, but you have more of it. And so when it goes back up, you just exponentially grow the amount of Bitcoin you have.
Hey folks, what a view behind me. I'm at Black Bull Markets headquarters here in Auckland, New Zealand. Speaking of views, you can get TradingView paid plans for free at Black Bull Markets, saving you up to $600 a year. That's right, get either the Essential, Plus or Premium plans absolutely free, and all you need to do is trade from one lot a month at Black Bull Markets. And you can also get a 100% deposit bonus for your first deposit up to $1,000. All you need to do is click the Trading Nut link in the description below.
That's fantastic. Hey, look, let's dive back into the trading stuff. So, your actual approach to trading, your daily routine, how do you set up and get ready for a trading day?
Yeah, I mean, I just probably similar to stock traders, instead of looking at 100 indices, I look at Bitcoin futures contracts. The reason why is because Bitcoin is like the tide that rises all boats in crypto. It's like most cryptos correlate with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's going up or down, a lot of everything's going up and down. And probably there's a lot of bots and a lot of computer algo trading going on with the big firms and the big hedge funds. So it's kind of amazing when Bitcoin drops. Every crypto drops, almost everyone, not all of them. They don't all correlate, but most of them do. They all drop accordingly. And it's like, how are people just selling because Bitcoin's dropping? Are people is the price going up on all these cryptos because Bitcoin's going up? And it's basically just bot trading probably at this point. They're all just going long, going short the same. But I look at all the time frames. I go from the 10-minute all the way up to the daily and the weekly. I look at the RSI and the stochastic RSI on Bitcoin, specifically on the weekly time frame only. That's the only one that really matters to me. And then I go back, maybe to the hourly or the 10-minute to actually open a position, depending on what I see. Because there's scalping. I'm doing both. I'm scalping short-term trades. I'm also getting into swing trades and maybe some longer-term trades. But generally speaking, minutes, hours, or days is the most I'm in a trade. Sometimes minutes, sometimes very quickly. If I see a breakout happening on a lower time frame, the overall trend might be up, but I see a big drop coming down to test support. I'll short that and just scalp it, and I tend to do that with higher leverage with a larger contract size, just to, make an obscene amount of money in a very short period of time. And then I go back long when it bounces and try to, and by the way, I'm doing that on a Bitcoin margin. So when I do that, I'm accumulating more Bitcoin.
Right. And are you, in terms of like a risk to reward, so like putting a stop loss in place, taking a losing trade versus taking a winner, what's the difference in size?
You mean, what is my
risk
my
to reward? So your risk versus reward is
we generally I don't give any signals in our group unless it's at least a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. But a lot of times because of the leverage, it's 7, 8, 9, 10-to-1 risk to reward. And then we not immediately, but very quickly move our stop loss to break even or into profit as soon as it starts moving in the right direction. And we pretty much minimize our risk altogether once we do that.
And so how did you navigate yourself around the whole technical analysis minefield? You talked about a couple of indicators in there. You've talked about trend lines before. What gave you the confidence in the approach that you've currently got?
Well, when I first started trading, I took the wrong approach. I wanted to be like the pro traders. And so before I knew anything or how to do anything, I bought 6 monitors. I had all the indicators on every one of them. It looked cool. I looked like I knew what I was doing. Didn't understand half of that stuff, right? And it was a process of elimination for me. And I learned a long time ago that almost everything in life it's not what you know or how much more you need to know or more tools that you need. A lot of times it's getting rid of all the things you thought you need, but discovered that you didn't. And once I really much cleared the chart, and now I was basically just a price action trader. I'm just looking at I don't even have the volume on. I basically am just looking at support and resistance, supply and demand. And I do pull up something called Coin Gecko, which is basically the liquidity heat map. So I can see where the money's at. I can see where everybody's about to get liquidated, which kind of gives us some insight. I always tell people, it's like, people are like, isn't this like gambling? I'm like, it's like gambling if you're a MIT graduate and you know how to count cards and you're best friends with a dealer and he's got a mirror on his sleeve and he's showing you his hand. Then it's like gambling. But to me, that's not gambling. That's having all of the perks and benefits heavily in your favor. And so we use the tools that we think are important. And so I can pretty much say what's going to happen. I pretty much call a top or a bottom in the market just with the weekly stochastic RSI or the weekly RSI, because it's clear if you go back and look throughout history where it actually is the bottom each market cycle. So it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. I can also call the top in Bitcoin just on the 12-month time frame. If I look at the 12-month chart, every time there's a bull market top in Bitcoin or in crypto, and there's only been 3 so far. This is the 4th bull market that we're in. There's only been 3 bull market tops. You just count 4 candles on the 12-month time frame, and that's the next bull market top every single time so far since the beginning. So we are currently in that candle right now. We have until the end of this year, and I will tell you guys right now, this is $1 million worth of free advice. Whenever December 31st of this year comes and goes, and it's January 1st, 2026, whatever the top of that 12-month candle is on Bitcoin futures contracts, that is the top. Now, let's say it goes up to 158,000 for Bitcoin between now and December 31st, and then it comes down to 110, and then the next candle starts. Well, that means that the 150 was the top. So you've already missed that whole ride down. But at the end of this year, whatever the top is of the 12-month candle will be the top.
When you say the top, you mean like the top is for how long? For the next year?
The top of the bull market. Yeah. So we're going into that would be the end of the bull market cycle on our way into the bear market.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So does that heavily sort of weigh what you're going to do next year in terms of like, if assuming it is the top,
yeah,
will you be now looking more shorts?
Oh yeah,
on a weekly basis.
Yeah. So even though we've been in a bull market since the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023, we've had many shorts throughout the whole upward trend. So I mean, Bitcoin has probably a dozen 20 to 50% pullbacks, every cycle. So we're talking about going up and then just dropping 20%. And then, so obviously on those drops, that could take 2 months, 3 months. We're dropping. It hits a certain support and then climbs to a new high. So we've shorted the bull market just as much as we've longed it. But on the way down, it's a little different because once we know where the top is in, and let's just say you short and you want to ride the thing all the way down, what we use is sub accounts. So on our trading platform, which is Femex, the one I use specifically, and I'll be happy to give everybody a link to that later. But if they're interested in trying this, but when we short, you can have multiple sub accounts. So I can do one short, a long-term short in one account. I can have a scalping account, and I can have a swing trade or a midday, or I can just have a fool around account. This is the account I'm going to do higher risk trades in. So, once you get good at this and you understand what you're doing, and I'm sure a lot of your traders already are good at doing this in the stock market, but I'll have my scalping account and I'll have my long-term trade account.
Hey, if candlesticks still confuse you, they're costing you more than you think. My private mentor JJ's decoded 25,000 hours of trading into one better candlestick. Click the link in the description or visit tradingnut.com to watch the free video and grab the free guide.
And so you're like trading live with your guys for like a few times a week, right? So how many trades would you take in a session?
I'm live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 12 noon Eastern every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for up to 2 hours. So sometimes there's no trade setup happening. I mean, there's a trade setup happening, but nothing's moving. Maybe it's moving slow during that time. So if I'm live and there just is nothing going on, I'll just be teaching and showing people how to draw the trend lines or where to support it. So we do have a lot of new members that are in there as well. But even when I'm not live, whenever there's a trade setup, we have a signals channel. So we're giving signals, I would say anywhere from at least 1 to as many as 3 in a day, because some are swing trades and some are scalps, and some scalps are happening so fast that I don't even have time to give the signal. So, and I tell my members, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to give a signal that the trade will be over by the time I even type it out for the signal channel. But I teach them how to find those trade setups, and I tell them that this is a possible trade scalp coming up. And if you already know how to do it, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to do in advance of it happening. But yeah, I mean, that's just my signal channel. My partner, Chad, also an expert trader. He has his own signal channel in our Discord. And we have another guy named Bill, who became very consistently profitable. He joined the team after a couple of years of being in our group. He's got his own basics call where he's got 2-3 calls a week, onboarding and basics call, where he takes brand new members and gets everything set up and showing them the basics. And then we have members who have proven themselves and we vetted them. They're consistently profitable. We gave them their own trade idea channel. So we got also members who are really good at what they do, posting trade signals and ideas in that channel. So between me and the other guys, multiple trade setups per day, multiple signals per day. I don't recommend people take them all. Find your strategy, find what works for you, and stick to that.
And if somebody was going to get in, or you guys are getting into these trades, I mean, are you taking like market entries or stop entries or limit entries? How are you getting into the trades? Because limits, sometimes you can set them, they never fire. I've tried to do a few on Bitcoin recently, and they've just missed completely because it's just too it's shot in the right direction too quickly. How do you do it?
Yeah, I'm 100% market orders. I do not trade limit conditional orders or any limit orders. And the reason why is because I'm always watching. I'm pretty much, I have either, if I'm in my home office, I have monitors here in front of me. If I walk away and I'm, going to the store or going to the gym or whatever the case may be, I have my phone, which is, I'm trading live always on that, or my laptop or my iPad, whatever, where I'm at, by the pool, the beach. So I'm always looking, and I don't like limit conditional orders because Bitcoin can certainly spike through your resistance level. It can even come down and retest and bounce, and you think it's going to go up, and then it just falls right back through that. So it might trigger your conditional long order and then fall back negative again. And if you're not paying attention, you're just going to come finally check on your limit conditional order, see that it was triggered, and now you're very negative, unless you've obviously put your stops and all that stuff in. You can do it. And we do have members in our group that does it successfully. But just me personally, I stick to just market orders. If I miss the trade setup, I just wait for the next one.
And what about managing trades? How do you do that?
I mean, I have open positions, like currently right now, I'm sitting in a few open positions, and let's see, 3 or 4. I'm the one that I tell my members, I'm like, listen, I'm going to give you a stop loss and a take profit target. And I generally front run the next resistance level. So I put my take profit target maybe a little bit earlier than where I think it's going to go to make sure you get triggered. But I tell them, as soon as it's 20, 30, 40% into profit, move your stop loss to break even or slightly in profit. As it continues to go towards your TP, move your stop loss up accordingly. If it gets really close to the TP and you're going to watch, and this is what I do, and this may not even be the right thing to do, but I move my TP out of the way up higher, and I just move my stop loss up accordingly. Because if this thing continues to go up, I'm not going to stop the trade. I don't want to stop the trade, but I will move my stop loss up to where if it does reverse on me or come back down, or if it's where my TP was going to be and then reverses, it takes me out anyway with a limit order, because the stop loss is, you're paying less a fee for that. But I'm more willing to let it hit my stop loss than my TP sometimes, because a lot of times it just keeps going.
Mm. And what about win rates and losing trades and stuff? So like, what is your win rate, and then how do you accept a loss or a string of losses?
Yeah. So, listen, as you guys know, there's a lot of psychology here. It's all mindset. And, I am more, I try to tell people, it's like going outside and walking without your shoes. At first you're like, stepping on gravel and rocks, and it hurts. But if you just did that every day, your feet would become callous, and you get to the point where you don't really feel it anymore. I remember when I was a little kid running around, I had no shoes on ever. And, my feet were like rocks. I could just walk on anything, hot coals even. But trading is the same way. You got to detach yourself emotionally from the money. And that is a difficult thing to do for some people, because money, since we are little kids, is very emotional. We stress over it. Almost every bad thing or good thing or anything in our life is financially related. Almost all problems that you have can be taken care of or go away with money. And when you don't have money, they exacerbate. So we're very emotionally attached to money. But if you can get to the point where you can detach yourself from the money or from the trades emotionally and not care whether it hits your stop loss or not care if you lose a little bit on a trade or not, you will become much more successful at trading. Because sometimes I'm famous in my group for saying the second time or third time's a charm. And that's the reason why. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes I'll give a signal and it'll hit the stop loss, but we had a very tight stop loss. So you lost very little. I'll tell everybody in the group, re-enter. And they're like, are you sure? Re-enter? I'm like, re-enter right now. Re-enter the exact same everything. They re-enter it, hit the stop loss again. And then I'm like, re-enter. Because I know this thing is going to do what I think it's going to do. It just, my timing was not all right, maybe on that first signal. And then the third time, boom, it does exactly what we want. Skyrockets, hits the TP. And then half the people in my group are like, damn, I didn't get in on that third re-enter because I just felt nervous at this point. They didn't trust themselves. They didn't trust me at the moment. But if I'm telling you to re-enter, what I'm basically telling you is I'm re-entering. You can do whatever you want. And it always works out for me that way. And I will make way more on that last re-entry than I lost on those first two trades. Always. So, but yeah, our win ratio is actually relatively high. I would say it's probably right. Mine is probably in the 60 to 75% range, but I've had 90%, 93% months straight in our group. My partner, Chad, we have some members that are over 90%, but the reason why is because they do not wait for TPs to get hit. They do not wait to put their stop loss in profit. They pretty much take the profit almost every time they're in profit. And that is a skill in and of itself, because a lot of people get into profit and then go back out of profit because they waited too long or they weren't paying attention, and then they kick themselves, or they go into profit and they increase their lot size or their contract size, and they increase their leverage because they're getting greedy. Another major emotion we need to control. And then it turns on them and starts to come back down, and they were in profit. They could have just closed it out and taken the $200 or the $2,000, but they let it go back down to break even and then negative. And then they get panicked, and then they close it out with a loss. So these are you guys know, traders have to deal with this emotional roller coaster when you're first learning. But if you can trust yourself and if you have someone giving you signals, or if you're in a group where they have a 60, 70% win ratio, that's pretty damn good, first of all. And second of all, you don't need that. You need a 50% win ratio with proper risk management. And, if you take 10 trades and you lose $100 on 5 of them, but you make $1,000 on the other 5, you're still at $4,500 for those 10 trades. So to me, the win ratio isn't as important as the risk management.
Yeah, look, it's a good point around the fact that these guys are getting these real high win rates, are taking their profits and getting out. The difficult thing for them is the fact that they have to see these moves just probably carry on and go and be okay with it. And that's a massive ego thing that they've obviously let go of. So something to learn there. Now, Niko, thank you very much for coming on and sharing all this stuff. This has been fantastic. What's the best way for traders to get hold of you? And you did say there was going to be a little gift for them as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would love to help some people out. Even if you're a stock trader, I'm a stock trader. I love the stock market. But if you want to make some extra money on the side, if you'd like to reach out to me, my name is Niko Mercurius. You can find me on all social media. But if you go to Instagram and search me at Niko Mercurius, and I'm pretty sure there'll be my name spelled somewhere around here that you'll be able to see. It's the only one is with the blue check. So make sure that you find the blue check next to my name, because there are imposters. Unfortunately, we've been doing this long enough that we have some scammers out there that are pretending to be me. So always make sure that you're going to the right Niko Mercurius. It's got the blue check next to it. Same on Facebook. And if you just comment on any of my videos or send me a DM, let's say Trading Nuts Podcast, if you comment that, I will send you a unlocked link to a training that we sold regularly for $1,000. It was a 5-day workshop that my partner and I did, 5 days of training that we basically taught. We sold it for $997. I will unlock that link and we'll send it to you, and you can have that for free, basically showing you the step-by-step of what we do and how we do it. And also I'll send you a link to register for my next upcoming live webinar or live masterclass, and you'll get VIP access to that without any problems there. And and I'll answer any questions you have also in the chat if you want to DM me.
Yeah. Well,
also, you can find me on YouTube as well.
What we'll do is we'll hook all those links up, including his Instagram, in the show notes page. It'll be underneath the video here. Go and check it out. Whilst you're down there, hit subscribe, like, and that notifications bell, and we'll see you in the next one.